everyone here this morning. Husita has been around since the late 1980s, when several organizations in England, the UK, the United States, and the Netherlands, and several other places had a lot of people interested in using technology for social services. And we joined together and we started having a Husita conference, and this is our 9th conference, so you see the Husita 9. We are a group of people that decided that we're not going to collect dues, that our membership is going to be based upon sharing information. So if you go to the husita.org website, you can there's a listserv to sign up for. There's a calling card where you put in your information and what typically you would tell someone in terms of your interest. And you can put that information in, and then you become a voting member of Husita, and we're going to have board elections in September again. So we're sort of a virtual organization of people who are developing, and mostly application developers, fairly busy. The listserv, if you have a question, we'll get an answer very quickly, a fairly good answer, but there's no chatting there, so because otherwise too busy to do those kind of things. So technology developers primarily and academics are members of Husita, but we welcome agency people, especially people that are using technology to sort of keep us honest. So that's pretty much the background of the organization. I will circulate a sheet of paper that has for your printed name and email address if you want to sort of get more information or just work with us in any way. I'll send out just a welcome to this email list, and if you don't respond, you will not receive anything else again. So.
Dick is also presenting the first paper this morning on web phone technology for treatment adherence.
Okay, the project that I'm currently working on is using web technology and phone technology to look at adherence treatment plan. So we call it teleadherence, as sort of because we couldn't think of a better word. The presentation I'll try to cover in 13 minutes is introduction, the overview of the system, the process of using it, what modules we have, examples of its use, application to the elderly. That I really won't cover in experience today. And my co-presenter is Sunseek Moon. Is he here? He's not. He will be here quite quickly. In terms of an overview, adherence to treatment is about 50% in the United States for almost everything you talk about. In terms of what percent of people take the medications, what percent of people show up for appointments, for group work, it's all averages around 50%. And so our goal is designed to use web and phone technology to increase the adherence to treatment. We're funded by the National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health. We're working with Mental Health and Mental Retardation of Tarrant County. They're our partner agency, and we're also working with a student veterans project at UTA. We use, in terms of IT, we use text-to-speech, speech recognition, and for phone we use landlines, cell phones, smartphones, SMS or texting, and VoIP, voice over internet protocol, phone technology. I'm working with a team in computer science and engineering. We're using computer science and engineering PhD and master's students for our research assistants, and also social workers for our research assistants. So it's a blend of computer science and engineering and social work. Our function is to deliver reminders and messages, to ask questions. We graph the responses, we send desired alerts. Based upon responses, we flag potential problems or opportunities using smart algorithms. So this is the function of the system. Uses to inform, remind, suggest, persuade, encourage, motivate, teach, reward, monitor, query, and branch, and query and alert. So we have a lot of different things we can do with the system. We're first rolling it out with the agency was interested in reminders of appointments and then follow up to see why clients are not attending their appointed meetings. The ideal use is where workers have large caseloads, for example, in probation. Our probation departments have about 100 to 200 to 600 people on their caseloads. One of our students that I talked to the other day had 1,200 people on her caseload. She was working for the jail. So with 1,200 people on her caseload, you can see a client once every 3 years or something like that. So we really need to start using technology, especially with people with large caseloads. What the agency does when they work with us is to design templates. These are sort of boilerplate schematics that contain questions, informational items, recordings, and we string those together to form a survey for a client. So a template is simply a group of items that are strung together, and then the case manager will develop surveys from templates. And types of things that templates concern are reminders of appointments, so that the treatment plan objective would be to show up for all your appointments, determine why they're not attending, discover the client's biggest problem, and provide information about it. For example, a client with substance abuse issues may call them on Friday afternoon and ask them if they have a plan for staying drug-free or alcohol-free over the weekend. If they say they don't, then we can sort of work them through on the phone system what they've received in counseling on how to stay alcohol-free on the weekend. So we're really trying to support the counseling that they're getting. In terms of modules, we have a client module for entering data on the client. We keep a minimum amount of data. We then have the module for developing your templates. We have the module for developing your surveys. And then we have a reporting module that will report the data out. We capture almost everything that happens with the system. And then our prediction module, which forecasts client success and failures. And then we have a management module, which has to do with privileges that case managers have, what the bosses have, what we have, and everything else. So these are the modules that the system has in it. Examples, we always ask for a PIN number to verify that it is the client, unless they don't want, the client prefers not to have the PIN number. So the system would say, this is the Adherence system calling, did you take your 9 a.m. medication? If they say no, then the system could deliver a motivational message and call back at 9:30 and do that until the client says they're taking the medication. Or the client stops answering their phone, either way. If they stop answering their phone or not taking their medication, we can alert their case manager. So ask the client, do you feel your medication is working? If no, the system can record the problem and email the recordings to the care manager. And we had some issues with this with one of the MHMR centers. The psychiatrist said that when we asked them about medication, we were practicing medicine, and that they refused to work with us on this particular asking the question about medication, because they didn't think it was our right to ask clients about their medications, and also I don't think they knew what to do with the information once it came back in. We can ask them if they want an appointment with a care manager. If yes, then we can send a message that the client leaves, or we can send an alert to the care manager. And then do you want to leave a message for your care manager? We can record that message. The client can hear it if they want to play it back and listen to it, and then they can save it and send it. Another example, this is you're working with a more elderly client with social isolation needs. This is your Adherence system calling you for your weekly checkup. How are you doing this week? They can either press or say fine, or say average, or say poor. If poor, then we can email the care manager. Ask them whether the number to say how many people have visited them this week, if that's an issue. We can then ask them, do they have enough food for the next meals? If they say no, then with the client, we can combine that with the client says they're doing poor, had no visitors, and had no food, and the alert could be sent to the local police station or someone quickly to check on the client, so we can combine things together. And then again, if you want to leave a message for your care manager. So those are the kinds of surveys that we can deliver. Experience today, again, we're rolling the system out. We've had quite a few bugs. This is sort of tricky to work with commercial vendors who basically deliver the voice to text to voice and the voice recognition technology, deliver the phone calls. So we've had some bugs that are very tricky to find. One example of a bug that we've been working on recently is the agency we work with uses Internet Explorer 7 because they have that secure. They don't want to migrate to a newer version. And when you get back to the old versions of Internet Explorer, you have a lot of incompatibility with everything else in the world. So we're having to work all those incompatibilities out so that they can see the buttons. The agency issues had, the web phone ICT is changing. We're having to move into texting much more because people are much more into texting now than they are into answering their phones. We're looking at applications, the phone applications. We're also looking at video. We can send video on how to take a pill or how to do something that gives us an added way to support the therapy that they're getting with their client, at the agency. So the agency issues, it requires the agency with a stable case management model. That's harder to find than you'd think. You'd think that case management would be fairly standard, or their mode of delivery would be very standard, but when you get out there, a lot of caseworkers do what works. High turnover, budget cuts, makes implementation difficult. A lot of agency practices, the workers are doing what they've found to work. You ask them what they do, they give you a manual. You look at the manual, and it bears no resemblance to what you actually see when they work with clients. They don't have the time to handle the additional information provided by the system, so we say, well, we can alert the client, we can alert you that the client wants to talk to you, and they say, I don't have any time to talk with any more clients than I've talked to now, so I don't want to know that the client wants to talk to me. So they have to be able to handle that type of information, information. And again, I mentioned the medical control, fears of documentation of current practices. So we document that if the client says, I want to see my case manager or I want to see my doctor, and that's recorded in the system and no one sees the client, and something happens to the client, there's a lawsuit, the agency doesn't want to have that type of information available. Future issues. We're continuing to develop and testing. Again, we're rolling out when I get back to Texas. We have a client signed up, and we just need to get them the technology. Ideal setting is something like probation where they have a high caseload. We're trying to integrate our system with the agency MIS. The agency MIS and MHMR was a system that I studied when I was in my PhD program, and I don't look that young, and I'm not that young, so a long time ago, so the system was very, very old. How to get standardized and well-researched sets of templates and surveys designed around common treatment plan goals and objectives. So really putting treatment into the system is one of the future issues. So I'll sort of end with a cartoon. This basically says that clients prefer computer-supported practice. You see the client, this nurse, go get on the internet, go to surgery.com, scroll down and click on, oh, you told your boss to act on. Clients will like us. They have no problems. The service providers are the most difficult. System takes time to build and debug. The 80-20 rule says that you spend 80% of your time getting 20% of the system done, and we're 20% of the time getting 80% of the system done. So we're through with the first 80%, we're on that last 80%, it takes a lot of time. Still good potential, but it's much slower than we anticipated. Agencies have little capacity to participate in research such as this, and will develop and continue testing. So that's my presentation.
Thank you very much.